The Rose Bowl is one of the most iconic annual matches in all of American sport. Nicknamed the Granddaddy of them all by broadcaster Keith Jackson, it was the first postseason football game ever established. The Rose Bowl game was first played in 1902 as the tournament East-West football game and has been played annually since 1916. In 1947, the Rose Bowl game began its traditional matchup of the conference champions from the Big Ten Conference and the predecessor of the Pac-12 Conference, which continued to 2023, with some exceptions. One of those exceptions was 2006. That year saw not only one of the greatest Rose Bowls ever, it was maybe the greatest college football game ever. As the BCS National Championship game, it was to determine the best team in college football for the 2005 season. Yes, we are in the BCS era. This is your final warning.
ABC Sports proudly presents exclusive coverage of the National Championship game. It's the grand finale of the Bowl Championship Series.
The NCAA Division I Football Bowl Subdivision is the only NCAA sport without an officially organised NCAA tournament to determine its champion. Instead, the postseason has historically consisted of individual bowl games. By the 1940s, college football conferences began signing contracts that tie their championship team to a particular bowl game. Since the AP began releasing its final poll after the bowl games in 1968, the two top-ranked teams in the final regular season AP poll had only played each other in a bowl 6 times until special bowl arrangements began in 1992. Under these circumstances, it was not uncommon to have the coaches poll crown a different national champion than the AP poll, resulting in a split championship. This situation arose a total of 10 different seasons before the BCS was formed. In the 1990s, the Bowl Alliance and the Bowl Coalition tried guaranteeing a 1v2 national title game, but it didn't have full buy-in from all conferences and all bowl games, including the Rose Bowl. The Bowl Alliance was reformed into the Bowl Championship Series for the 1998 season. The Tournament of Roses Association agreed to release the Big Ten and Pac-10 champions if it was necessary to form a national championship game. In return, the Rose Bowl was added to the yearly national championship rotation, and the game was able to keep its exclusive TV time slot on the afternoon of New Year's Day. Throughout its run, the BCS was controversial for the exact system combining human polls and computer rankings. To be fair to the BCS, it had some benefits over the current committee chooses playoff system. Namely, teams knew what went into the BCS system, and there was a number attached to each team, so you could tell the true difference between one team and another. The big problem with the BCS was that it was a one-off game instead of a full-on playoff. However, in the 2005 season, there were only 2 undefeated teams left by the end of the regular season, so one would expect that those 2 teams would have made their way through the bracket to meet in the national championship deciding game. Those 2 teams were Texas and USC. USC entered the game on a 34-game winning streak. On October the 15th, 2005, USC beat Notre Dame 34-31. The game is remembered for the Bush push as the game ended with quarterback Matt Leinhart being pushed into the end zone by running back Reggie Bush. A play that was actually illegal, but there was no instant replay in that game because in 2005, for non-conference games, both schools had to agree to have it available. And USC coach Pete Carroll declined its use. In 2006, the NCAA ensured for all Division I-A games, which was renamed the Football Bowl Subdivision, instant replay was mandatory for all games. Bush was the star of the USC offense, and after being a 2004 Heisman Trophy finalist, which was won by Leinhart, Bush amassed 2,611 all-purpose yards in 2005 and scored 18 touchdowns, 15 rushing, 2 receiving, and 1 punt return. He led the Trojans with 1,740 rushing yards on 200 carries with 16 touchdowns and ranked 3rd on the squad with 39 receptions for 481 yards. USC's last game for the Rose Bowl was a 66-19 win against rival UCLA in front of 92,000 at the LA Coliseum. The Pac-10 didn't have a conference championship game until the conference expanded to 12 teams and became the Pac-12 in 2011. USC was ranked number 1 in the BCS, and their opponent in the Rose Bowl would be the University of Texas. From 1936 to 2004, Texas finished the season in the top 10 of the AP poll 23 times. At the start of the 2005 season, the Longhorns were the 3rd best school in total victories and 4th by winning percentage. Quarterback Vince Young led the team to the 2005 Rose Bowl, the school's first BCS game, and a top 5 finish in the major polls. After the 38-37 victory over Michigan, Young predicted the Longhorns would return to the Rose Bowl, proclaiming, "We'll be back." Young would lead Texas in 2005. Young was the second man on the quarterback depth chart in his freshman year, but became the starter midway through that season. In their second game of the season, Texas played a memorable game against Ohio State. Despite being so early in the season, this was a crucial game as the loser would very likely not make their way to the national championship game. Despite 3 takeaways by the Ohio State defense, the Texas defense held their opponent to field goals on the ensuing possessions. With 2 minutes 37 to go, Young found Lima Swede to level the game, and the extra point gave the Longhorns the lead. An Aaron Harris sack and a failed onside kick gave Texas a win by 25 points to 22. The other games, well, they weren't close. Texas thrashed Colorado 70 points to 3 in the Big 12 championship game, so Texas brought a winning streak of 19 straight games and entered as the defending Rose Bowl champion. The combined 53-game winning streak was an NCAA record for teams playing each other. It was also the first BCS title game where both teams had been ranked first and second in every iteration of the BCS standings. Mack Brown was the coach for Texas. This was the end of his 8th season as coach with a record of 82-19. The aforementioned Pete Carroll was the coach for Southern California at the end of his 5th season with a record of 54-9. So these were the 2 best college football teams of 2005, and they were to do battle in the Rose Bowl on the 4th of January 2006.
Now there is just one game left. One game that will be as big as a college football game can be. The Southern California Trojans and the Texas Longhorns for the national championship tonight on ABC Sports.
The aforementioned Keith Jackson would be calling his final game, and what a classic it was. Sandra Day O'Connor, an Associate Justice on the US Supreme Court for 24 years until her retirement at the end of the month, tossed the coin. Texas chose to defer to the second half. USC received the opening kickoff, but only managed 3 yards on their first possession. So good start for Texas. At least it was, until Aaron Ross did this after receiving the USC punt.
Sometimes he outkicks the coverage. Texas will get good field position out of this one. The reception was made at about the 43. Fumble! Texas man let go. Trojans have it. The Trojans get the football. I mean, somebody leveled Ross, and then the ball squirted out.
The Trojans jumped on the fumble and take over in Texas territory. A 23-yard Leinhart pass to fullback David Kurtman sets up 1st and goal. Kurtman was hit hard by Cedric Griffin, who was forced to leave the game briefly. Leinhart was forced out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage, but he was shoved well after he was out of bounds by Robert Killebrew, which draws a half the distance to the goal, an automatic 1st down penalty. On the next play, Lendell White rushed for a 4-yard touchdown, giving USC the first points of the bowl game. Texas started promisingly on their next drive, but they are stopped when they go for it on 4th down and 1. Selvin Young is wrapped up and USC get the ball back. On the first play of their next drive, Leinhart throws a lateral to Dwayne Jarrett, who launches one for Steve Smith, but Jarrett overthrows his target, who would have scored had he caught it. USC made their way to the 17, bringing up 4th and 1. USC go for it by calling a quarterback sneak out of an empty backfield with Bush standing helplessly in the slot. The next Longhorns drive, though, stalled out at midfield, resulting in a punt. The next USC drive went into the start of the second quarter. On the second play of the quarter, Leinhart faked a handoff and then dropped it off to Bush. With blockers in front, he raced his way to the Texas 19, and then did this.
Bush, oh, look out! Ball fumble. Texas has got it. He's trying to lateral the ball is what he was doing, Keith. He saw a teammate out to the side and flipped the ball out there.
Bush tries to lateral the ball to walk-on wide receiver Bradley Walker, who had not caught a ball all season. The surprise Walker unsurprisingly missed it, and Michael Huff of Texas recovered. Why did Bush lateral it there? The only real answer we ever got from him was, we tried to do too much. Bush and receiver Chris McFoy had practiced that play days before the game. Now, McFoy wasn't playing in this game. I suspect in the moment Bush thought he would be able to do something extra special. But that misplay changed the game. Instead of going up a couple of scores potentially, doubling their lead, Texas took over at their own 18. The Pac-10 football officiating coordinator later stated that Bush's pass was incorrectly officiated because it was an illegal forward pass, not a lateral, so the Trojans should have retained possession. Young drove his team 53 yards on the ensuing possession. The Texas side had the ball on their opponent's 21, but Ramon's Taylor fumbled the ball. Young jumps back on it, but it is a 10-yard loss. The Longhorns' first points would come from a 46-yard David Pino field goal. Leinhart and USC were driving well on their next possession. They were 25 yards away from the end zone when Leinhart was picked off by Michael Griffin, with instant replay confirming it. Young will lead his team with his legs in this drive. The ball was snapped from the 22. Vince Young ran left and after a run of 10 yards pitched a lateral to Selvin Young, who ran the extra 12 for the touchdown. What in doubt here wasn't whether this pass was backwards. It was, but whether Vince Young was down. Indeed he was, and it should have been Texas first down and 10 from the 12. Due to issues with instant replay equipment, this play was not reviewed, though perhaps Carroll should have called a timeout to allow the officials to reconsider. Pino misses the extra point anyway, meaning the Texas lead is only 9 points to 7. Bush returns the ball on the kickoff to the 33, but USC is forced back 5 yards when they have 12 men, one more than allowed, in the huddle. USC get pushed back another 5 yards on third down when they failed to snap the ball before the play clock hits 0. Griffin breaks up the third down pass, forcing a Trojans punt. A 15-yard punt return gave Texas the ball at their own 49. The Longhorns capitalized when Young found David Thomas for 14 yards before Taylor rushed for a 30-yard touchdown. Pino's extra point extended the lead to 16-7. On the next drive, Leinhart threw a pass intended for Reggie Bush that was grabbed by Drew Kelson, but Kelson landed on his back after catching the pass and the ball popped out. The pass was ruled incomplete, equipment issues again preventing a review. USC did well to get a drive going, and a completion to Bush got USC into the red zone, but 2 sacks left USC with no option but to go for 3. Mario Delano's kick from 43 was good, and Vince Young took a knee to end the first half, with his side in front by a score of 16-10. He only had 2 incompletions of 15 pass attempts in that half, 13 out of 15, 113 passing yards and 60 rushing yards. Leinhart was 13 of 21, 147 yards passing and 1 pick. Here were the coach's thoughts at halftime.
Pete, what do you need to fix at halftime?
Well, we gave a couple opportunities away to him, and we just have to do a much better job of that. We don't normally do those kinds of things. I don't know why Reg flipped that ball back. We were in pretty good shape right there. That's the first thing. We got to slow them down. They had a little momentum going with the no-huddle thing. We got to slow that thing down.
Your quarterback, Matt Leinhart, how is he?
He's okay. He got rocked a little bit, but he's all right.
We'll see you in the second half. Holly?
I'm here with Mac Brown. Coach, in that midway point through the first half, your team seemed to pick up some momentum. What happened to get that momentum?
Oh, Holly, it's a great ball game between 2 great football teams, and I think ours were trying a little too hard, and we really stunk the first part of it. We've settled down now, and what a ball game. Should be a great second half.
What stunk?
Well, we fumbled the ball twice, and then we laid it on the ground another time when we're going in to score, and we had an opportunity or 2 on defense we didn't make. But it's a great football team, and we've got to protect the ball better the second half.
The Trojan defense came back strong from the halftime break and forced a punt on the Longhorns' opening drive of the third quarter. During the following USC drive, Leinhart hit Jarrett for 3 passes, totaling 35 yards, and White added the final 17 yards over 2 carries, capping the 7-play, 62-yard drive with a 3-yard touchdown run. It was his second of the game, and it put the Trojans ahead 17-16, with 10:36 left in the third. The rushing of Jamal Charles and Vince Young did the bulk of the work on the ensuing Texas drive. After faking a handoff to Charles, Young avoided tacklers and dived into the right corner, and Texas had retaken the lead, and it took them just 2 minutes and 2 seconds of game time. Leinhart made some great throws during the next drive, including a connection to tight end Fred Davis near midfield on third down to keep the drive going, with 6 minutes left in the quarter. Leinhart found Jared on the next play to move USC to the 21, but after Davis can't keep his feet inbounds on 3rd and 1, USC go for it on 4th down, and Texas can't stop White from racing into the end zone for the game's 4th lead change. That White-Bush duo had 96 rushing touchdowns on the season, an NCAA record. On the Longhorns' next drive, Young finds Thomas on a crucial 3rd down and 3. 2 plays later from the Texas' own 35, Young goes on a scintillating dash that takes his side to the 20, but the Trojan defense makes some important plays on the next set of downs, giving Texas no choice but to go for 3 when a 4th and 4 is brought up. On the first play of the last quarter, Pino had the chance to put Texas in front by 2 points.
Missed that one. Missed both of them to the right side.
So that Pino miss gave Southern California the ball back at their own 20. White on back-to-back plays had rushing attempts of 6 and 14, which brought up a USC 1st and 10. They line up with Bush as the deep back. They gave him the ball, and once he bounced outside, he was never going to be stopped.
Touchdown. I'm making sure that's
it took a while to get those arms up. I'm not sure these officials from the Big Ten have ever seen anybody fly through the air like Reggie Bush can.
Bush's dive into the end zone gave his football team an important buffer in the Rose Bowl, with USC's lead now a score of 31-23. On the first play from scrimmage thereafter, Charles can't hold on to a pass from Young, which instant replay, which at least is working for the last quarter, confirmed it was incomplete and not a catch fumble, which would have given the ball back to USC. Young made some great throws to Pittman, which led to Texas making their way to the red zone. On 3rd down, Young keeps it himself after faking a handoff to Taylor, but fumbles the ball. Thankfully for those in orange and white, Casey Stoddard falls on it, ensuring Texas get a go at a field goal. Pino does not miss this time, and the field goal cuts the margin to 5 points. On the first passing play of the next possession, Leinhart dumps it off to David Kurtman, who takes off down the left sideline, and his great yards after catch and a 15-yard penalty tacked on due to a flag for roughing the passer sets up the Trojans well, inside of 8 minutes left. After a 9-yard run from White sets up 2nd down, Jarrett catches a high pass from Leinhart at the 1, and an extra effort gets him across the plane of the goal line for the first passing touchdown of this Rose Bowl. Terrell Brown and Michael Griffin are hurt on the play for Texas. The extra point is good, and USC are firm favourites now. The margin is 12 points, and after seeing 2 of their defenders go down, as well as now trailing by 2 possessions, the Texas fanbase and sideline look in despair. But Vince Young wasn't going to give in now. 3 straight completions put Texas in USC territory, though Young is nearly picked by safety Ryan Ting. After a Young rush and connections to Thomas and Swede on 2nd and 4, Young is looking for options to his left. USC leave the right side of the field exposed, and the quarterback took it in for a 17-yard TD run. Young accounted for all 69 yards of that Longhorns drive that took just 2 minutes and 39 seconds to complete. He rushed for 25 and completed 5 passes for the other 44. It was a drive where he showed his true leadership, and Pino's extra point made the scoreboard read USC 38, Texas 33. USC gets the ball back and make 1 first down. On 3rd and 7 at midfield, White is given the ball only to fumble it, though Smith jumps on the ball. The ball is 2 yards away from the line to gain. A good punt pins Texas deep in their own territory. Heck, even a touchback means Texas needs 80 yards to get the lead back. But in the most crucial coaching decision of the game, with Bush watching on, Pete Carroll says, go for it.
He gets it. He didn't get it.
He gets it, meaning he got the ball.
That official right there is marking the ball, and he's marking it short of the first down. Texas football.
The chain crew confirmed the ball was short of the line to gain, resulting in a turnover on downs. The bad call here wasn't really going for it, but it was to keep Bush on the sidelines for that play. While White was the man to give the ball to, who knows if forcing an extra defender or 2 to have to watch Bush, maybe White gets an extra inch. Alas, that didn't happen, and the Longhorns have the ball again from their own 44. They need a touchdown and ideally a 2-point conversion as well. A 2-yard loss and an incompletion sets up a Texas 3rd and 12 with 95 seconds left. Young finds Quan Cosby short of the first down. However, Ting grabs Cosby's face mark. The officials call it incidental, so it's only 5 yards and not 15. Still a first down though. Young finds Brian Carter for a 9-yard gain on the next play, with instant replay confirming Carter was indeed down by contact before the ball came loose. Young keeps it on 2nd and 1 with a minute left. He gets the first down, gets out of bounds. Carter again is the target from Young, and he gets out of bounds at the 14. 1st and 10 with 45 seconds left. Young goes for a shot to the end zone, but Swede is unable to hold onto it within the end zone. On 2nd and 10, Young rushes his way to the 9, and Texas call timeout, and there is 30 seconds left. On 3rd and 5, Young goes for Swede again, this time across the middle, and it's broken up. So, it's 4th down and 5 yards to go from the 9. Get inside the 4, pick up a first down. Fail to do that, the game ends. The real goal is to get into the end zone and win the national championship.
He's going for the corner. He's got it. Vince Young scores.
as we said, Keith, you can have the perfect defense called. You can force them out of the pocket, but you're not going to beat them. Invincible.
Young received the shotgun snap and found his receivers covered. Young bolted towards the right pylon and received a critical block from Blaylock that helped him get into the end zone. That was Young's third rushing touchdown of the game and gave the Longhorns a 1-point lead. USC used its last timeout before Texas went for 2, and Young reached the end zone there as well. There is 19 seconds left to play, and Texas has come from 12 points down to lead 41-38. That Young touchdown wasn't the last play of the game. USC got the ball back on offense with 16 seconds left, and if they can manage a field goal, it'll go to overtime. Leinhart dumps it to Bush, who goes out of bounds at the Texas 43, stopping the clock with 8 seconds left. If USC get one more first down and are able to spike the ball, they'll be in field goal range and still have a hope. But the Texas coverage is great, giving Leinhart not great options to throw to.
Now he's got to throw it, and throws it high and out of bounds, and the game is over. Texas has defeated Southern California 41-38 to win the national championship of college football.
The Longhorns' win was the 800th in school history. Young amassed 467 total yards of offense with 3 touchdowns. He rushed for 200 yards and all of his scores while throwing for 267. He not only set the Rose Bowl record for rushing yards by a quarterback and helped Texas capture its 4th national title, but he capped off a historic season. Young became the first player in FBS history to record over 3,000 yards passing and 1,000 yards rushing in a single season. Vince Young was named the Rose Bowl's MVP for the 2nd time in as many years. He's only the 4th player in Rose Bowl history and the only player from the Big 12 to accomplish this feat. USC head coach Pete Carroll regarded Young's performance as, quote, the greatest he's ever seen by any one guy, unquote. Following the match, Leinhart and Bush went to the Longhorns locker room to personally congratulate the victors. The Longhorns and the Trojans were together awarded the 2006 ESPY Award by ESPN for the best game in any sport. In December 2006, both Sports Illustrated and Time magazine picked the game as the best sports moment in 2006. Voters on Yahoo Sports also voted it as the sports story of the year for both college football and overall. This was the most watched Rose Bowl since 1986. The unreviewed controversial rulings from this game were cited as key reason that the NCAA Football Rules Committee added a coach's challenge for the following season. This will be the last time USC and Texas met in a football game until 2017, which USC won in overtime 27-24. The two teams met again in 2018 and Texas won 37-14. ESPN analysts were virtually unanimous in declaring the 2005 USC Trojans as having the best offense in college football history, even though it did not lead the nations in points. Texas did. Mark May and Kirk Herbstreit declared the 2005 USC Trojans were the 2nd best college football team of the past 50 years. May placed them behind only the 1995 Nebraska Cornhuskers, and Herbstreit placed them behind only the 2001 Miami Hurricanes. Stuart Mandel of Sports Illustrated later observed, quote, ESPN spent the better part of Christmas season comparing that Trojan squad to some of the most acclaimed teams of all time, only to find out they weren't even the best team that season, unquote. All that being said, the Trojans should have won that ball game. They should have had a double-digit lead early, but didn't. They were 12 points up and blew that lead. On June the 10th, 2010, USC were forced to vacate its last 2 wins from the 2004 season, including its national championship, and all wins from the 2005 season after an NCAA investigation into the football program and men's basketball program declared Bush retroactively ineligible. Although the NCAA only vacated USC's victories, the school also claims to have had this defeat vacated. As a result, USC records show the Trojans as having a 0-0 record during the 2005 season. Bush played 11 seasons in the NFL and was part of the Super Bowl winning New Orleans Saints team in 2009. Young played 5 years in the NFL, 4 with the Titans and 1 with the Eagles. He was a 2-time Pro Bowler, but was never really reached his potential, not helped by a knee injury suffered in 2008. Thanks, Madden Curse. But back to college football, a lot ended with this game. As already mentioned, it was the last game of Keith Jackson's career and the end of ABC Sports. Furthermore, a lot of stuff that was standard in 20th century college football truly ended here. It was the last Rose Bowl game played for the national title, as from 2007, the BCS had its own standalone Championship game, as has the college football playoff that replaced it. It was the last year before the SEC would begin to fundamentally change and dominate the sport for the next 2 decades. It was the last year where all those traditional non-SEC schools like USC, Texas, Notre Dame, Penn State, Ohio State dominated the conversation. But it had some truly amazing athletes in their athletic peak going toe for toe and blow for blow. And Vince Young's game, but especially his 9-yard dash into the end zone, is the stuff of legends. It was the winning touchdown in the greatest college football game ever played.